So, I don't know if any of you noticed something interesting, but there's been a little bit of a upheaval, a disturbance in the force, if you will, ever since Marco Grande cammed up and showed, if not the most, some of the most beautiful women that this corner of YouTube has seen, actually cammed up. Now, there are beautiful women in the chat room, and I'm sure with still photos and things like that. But this is something different because this is um, the most beautiful women or a group of women that exist, or excuse me, that any of the YouTubers can actually say that they're with. These are the most pronounced receipts that exists in this corner of YouTube. I mean, we all have like, well, I shouldn't say we all, but there are fellows with wives, girlfriends, and some who claim to be playboys. They may or may not be, but that's not for me to determine. Um, you know, so, but none of them would really have receipts, including myself. I don't show, receipts for my love life because I make no salacious claims of it, and I want to keep my life separate. But for the first time, and correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe somebody else had, like five attractive women, you know, on display at once to answer 21 questions. Maybe somebody else did. I do not know. What I do know is that there's a lot of pushback to it. And we've discussed a lot why. We were talking about why a lot. This is why this is Marco is getting all this pushback. And really, the safe conclusion is that when a person or a group of people is attempting to sell you a lifestyle, the worst thing you can do is have someone sell you a better lifestyle with actual visual proof of it. That is the worst thing a person can do. It's kind of like somebody selling you a better car, or you have a cookie shop and somebody opens up a donut shop or a cake shop or a pie shop or a cookie shop with milkshakes. Make no mistake, people, what Marco Grande has displayed is more superior results than what has been displayed by anybody else on YouTube on both sides. So now we've discussed the why everybody hates Marco. I'm going to tell you how they hate because it's very important to study people and how they are hating ass niggas. So right now we're going to discuss how. And there are 10 different methods that they use to hate on the Marco Grandes and those who seek his lifestyle or a similar one. Number one, distance shaming. Distance shaming is done by, and you hear it all the time. Oh, you had to travel blah, 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 and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. No matter what the distance. Even if it is a shorter distance for which they have to travel. Say a person travels from the east coast of um, the United States, to the west coast of the United States to visit a girl that they think is pretty. Now that's 3,000 miles. Now say another person who lives next door to this person on the East Coast travels less than 1,000 miles to Dominican Republic or Puerto Rico or Trinidad. It's a shorter distance, right? However, that person is shamed more. Hmm. Hmm. So you see, it's not really the distance that's a factor. Oh, no, no, no. No, no, no. It's the fact that you left the national border. I mean, you hear online all the time about how people will travel domestically for increased sexual opportunity. Keith Lamont will say something, will tell you about Dallas and, what's up with Dallas. And brothers be like, oh shit, I got to come through. Somebody say, oh man, the women in, I don't know, let's just say Mississippi or something. The women in Mississippi aren't hitting it, but when I go to Cali, oh shit, those California girls. So people do that domestically all the fucking time. Growing up, and those people who are my age knew that, Hayward was the spot. I mean, don't get me wrong, no shade on Oakland girls, but just a little bit more. Hayward was the spot. You knew that if you went to an event in Hayward with the Hayward girls, shit was cracking. Just saying. That may have changed now, as things like that do, but things change. Anyway, because I don't want to spend too long on each of these because it's 10 of them. Anyway, that is the halfway across the world shaming tactic. It's not the distance, it's the borders. Number two, why not darker skinned women? Now, this is a common one. And this is basically their way of saying you're colorist. That's right. Men are now using the colorist argument. You see, it doesn't matter how ridiculous the shaming tactic is, and it doesn't even matter if these shaming tactics are pulled from women, as long as it's a shaming tactic. Now, the short answer to this, and you don't really have to give these people an answer, but there's two real basic answers. For one, there are dark skinned women where you're going, and for two, because I like light skinned women and I don't give a shit what you say about it. Those are the two basic answers. Now, this is just a gasping for air, you're drowning, so you're waving anything. Well, what about dark skinned women? You're dark skinned and you're handsome. It's like, what the fuck? I got a gold teeth. I mean, I don't want a bitch with a gold teeth. I got a big ass dick. I don't want a woman with a big ass dick. The fuck kind of logic is that? So that's number two. Number three. Oh, this is one of my favorites. Local men will attack. And this is always done in a passive aggressive way. Oh yeah, if you do that, you see, what will happen is, what's gonna happen is this that eventually the locals is gonna attack. I mean, yeah, they're not attacking now, and they're not attacking like the other groups of immigrant populations at all. Um, um, but one day, if it's too many of you, there's going to be a violent revolution, and blah blah blah, and blah blah blah, and oh blah 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 blah. And this is also followed up with, if you do that domestically. If you keep dating these Mexicans, then the Mexican men are going to attack. And this is coming from guys who have dated Mexican women, maybe even married them. If you keep dating these white women, then the white women, or then the white man is going to attack. And this is coming from guys who have dated and married white women. But now the attack is going to happen. Now this this ethnic revolution is going to happen. So you better stick to your own kind because when you get there and once you're that 100,000 nigga, they're going to say, "Okay, that's too many. Any more and we're going to attack." Now, for whatever reason, we are more likely to attack when it's more of you. See, we didn't attack when we had the greater numbers. We didn't attack when the numbers were greatly in our favor. When it was 10 of you, we didn't attack. But now that you have 100,000 able-bodied men, now we're going to attack. Hmm. 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 And then when they talk about the violence, I'm going to stick on this one for a moment because this is fucking ridiculous. And then when they talk about the violence against immigrants, it's always like one off. It's always like some ridiculous, oh yeah, a German attacked a Turk just 6 years ago. It was a violent knifing because he slept with his wife or some shit like that. Listen, the most dangerous place for a black man is on the block. And they brag on the danger. They think it's a good thing. They think it's a sign of courage just to be in a dangerous setting. Well, there you go. So the next time somebody says you can't handle the block, you tell them that they can't handle fucking foreign women because because they're cowards. Uh, all right. Number 4. You couldn't cut the mustard here in the US. Now, I'm not here to shade New Yorkers, but there's no real other way to do it, to say this. And this is the best analogy I can think of. When you hear that whole saying, New York, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. To which I would reply, if I can make it anywhere, why would I make it there? It's either too damn hot or too damn cold. You have to make high six figures just to live in a shitty Roachfield apartment. You got rats in the sewers and mutant turtles. People are angry. You're always in traffic. You can't afford both a house and a car. Cops will stop and frisk you at random. And you will get fined for opening your legs and on a subway train, even if there's nobody else on it. Why in the fuck would I even want to make it there if I could or not? So you get these jackasses, right? Who come from all everywhere else in the country. They take their skill set and bring it there, and they have a lower quality of life. Let's just say you have a job like a police officer, right? Or an FBI agent. Let's say FBI agent, because I know a guy whose fiance, they're definitely married by now, or not, but who had a fiance who graduated at the top of her class in the FBI academy, and the going logic was you can pick your location. You can pick your location. And this was a guy that worked from home. I met him during an orientation because we started at the same company at the same time. But he worked from home as well as I did. It's just that his home was in the place that his fiance picked because she graduated so high in the FBI. And you want to know where she didn't pick? New York. You know where she did pick? Hawaii. So, yes, you can make it there. She could make it there. She would have a job paying the same amount there as she would in Hawaii, but why would she want to? So, yes, she could cut the mustard in New York, but she just don't want to. Now, what if she didn't choose Hawaii? What if she, chose a place with inexpensive real estate and she buys a nice home in that place? And then someone were to say, "Oh, you wouldn't be able to get that same home in New York." I'm talking about New York City. To which she and they should reply, "You goddamn right I wouldn't. Thank you for pointing that out, which is why I am here and not there." But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're cutting the mustard so much. To which I would ask, could you show me the video at five equally attractive African American women? The silence that you hear is me waiting for them to do that, but don't think it's going to happen. All right, so depending on how you define cutting the mustard, I don't think they can either. Anyway, number five. It's so many beautiful black women here. No doubt, no doubt. It's so many beautiful black women there too. I'm talking about Colombia, where Marco is. It's yeah, that's the thing. There's pretty much beautiful black women everywhere. Now there are higher concentrations in some places than others, but there are beautiful black women, pretty much everywhere. I can't think of a country or continent that does not have um, black women in it. What's your point? I can picture like an apartment building, right? Apartment buildings tend to sometimes have attractive women in it. I'm talking about like back in the day when I was on the up and coming, right? When I was a young dude, and I say, I want to go out. I want to go out tonight to a nightclub or a party or something like that, and see what's cracking. There are a lot of beautiful women at such and such and such and such nightclub, lounge, etc., etc. So I'm gonna go and see what's up. So I go out, enjoy myself, may or may not pull something, and then somebody says, it's a lot of beautiful women here in the apartment complex. You should have just stayed home. You should have just stayed home and hope that when you went to the area to get your mail, you would run across one of these beautiful women and she'd suck your dick. That's what that should happen. That's what you should be doing. That is a proper mating strategy, is to just do nothing and hope for the best. Which, by the way, that's the same mating strategy that women have. Not aggressively pursuing is a female mating strategy. Like, oh, I just look good and wait is their mating strategy. So that's number five, halfway done. Number six, you can't build a legacy with foreign women. Now, this is interesting because this comes from many of the people who give this excuse are actually with foreign women or have been with foreign women or have married foreign women. I mean, the only type of people that can truly make this argument is if you are currently wed to a blackety black woman. But no, most of them, like, many of us have non-ADOS wives, ex-wives, girlfriends, ex-girlfriends, children, have children. But yet when it's done over the border, it's different somehow. I mean, like, would a person look their mixed son or daughter in the face and say, "You are not my legacy"? I mean, are there a lot of like kids being disowned by this newfound logic? Very interesting concept we have going on here. Now, often this is displayed on someone like Marco. This is projected on someone like Marco. It's really not entirely about Marco. It's about those who wish to follow his path, who don't have kids, many of whom don't want kids. But you see, here's the thing. If you don't have kids but you want them, then this ADOS community that y'all saw talk about has not produced a legacy for you either. And if you don't want kids, then who gives a shit? Who gives a shit where you put your dick? And Marco don't want kids, but yet they still attack. Number seven, you don't speak the language. Now, this is the most valid of each of them. This is the most valid of each of them. Um, you're right. In my travels and when I'm single, or yeah, when I'm single, I do, as many of you know, flirt. If I'm if I see a beautiful woman, I do shoot my shot the best I can, and language is the largest barrier to that. First of all, because many of them, unless you're dressed significantly different, and most tourists do, as I did, many of them don't know that you are foreign, depending on what you look like. And I'll use Dominican as an example, but this applies to Colombia as well. Um, Even if you are extremely dark, they will just assume that you are Haitian. But unless you're in a major tourist area, they're going to assume that you're a local until you talk, and that's a dead giveaway. And the response would be different depending on how she feel about locals, or excuse me, how she feel about foreigners, particularly gringos. And most of the time, it does not work to your favor. And that's because basically you're expressing that you cannot offer, you're highly less likely to offer long-term companionship. You're basically asking her to be vacation pussy, and in return, you're offering vacation dick. You're offering sporadic dick. That's what you're doing. So the one second, I lost my train of thought. So you the do not speak the language. So yeah, so it's a clear giveaway that you're not local. You can't share a legacy, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. True. You'll have to try a little bit harder. And then if you're serious, you learn their language, but you're still gonna have an accent for quite some time, so they're still gonna know that you're foreign. But you know, you can work past that. I mean, few people like travel to places like Dominican Republic and I guess you could travel to a place where the people speak English and you know it would be the same thing or learn their language. But yeah, that's number 7. I was just thinking about a friend of mine who traveled to an English speaking place and shot his shot and didn't have any success. I don't know why that came to mind. Anyway, um, you can't produce the same results here. In fact, I'm gonna take that one out. That's number 8. Let me cross that out. And I'll think of another one on the fly because I want this to be 10. But number 8, you can't produce the same results here because that's the same as, let's see, you couldn't cut the mustard. And I already covered that. So that's number 8. Number 9, they are with you for a green card. Now, as in my personal experience, as untrue as that is or may be, so what if it is? And so what if they are? Now, I'm not going to say that I'm going to ignore for a second because that's going to come up later. But I'm going to ignore for a second the fact that they could be using you for something, which is something that is true for each and every single American woman ever. All of them could be using you for something. They all could divorce and take half, or divorce and get put up in a house somewhere, or they could just be simply using you for sperm. So that's true, but what if they are interested in you for your green card? That would only be a boon if you was interested in them for something else. I mean, I think that this is their way of saying that they don't love you. They don't love you. It's like, um, do American women love you? Okay, see, here's the problem. Here's the problem. Because what's coming out of this and the source, you got to consider the source. These are not like Heathcliff Huxtable men, who are married with all the kids, all born in wedlock and shit like that. These are not them. These are not those guys. No, these are the guys who, how can I say this? Um, Promote this player lifestyle, who promotes this I'm so pretty, look at me lifestyle. So that's not a shallow reason, right? Because if a woman is into you for your looks, it's okay. But a woman who looks to you for a green card isn't. I don't get it. These guys are promoting lifestyles where you don't love them, they don't love you, but you're still getting something out of. them and they're still getting something out of you. How's that different than a green card scenario? Just curious. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that go for a chick who's just interested in a green card. And personally, from what I noticed, these chicks aren't interested in a green card. Like, you couldn't drag them away from their families if you wanted to. And personally, guys, I don't recommend being with that, but that's coming from me, not them. You see, if you get a woman who wants to live in America, then she doesn't have any family values. And family values is probably the primary reason that you're with her. So wouldn't recommend that, and I've said that on my channel plenty of times. But why are you saying that? Don't you want women to be with you for superficial reasons? Anyway, that's number 9. Oh, number 10, and keep in mind that I scratched out number 8 because it looked like another one. So I'm gonna have to come with another one. All right, number 10. They will leave you when you get here. It's like, yeah, yeah, valid. Which is why Marco is there. And he's still there. And he lives there. And he bought property there. That is the lifestyle he is promoting. He is not promoting take a bitch from there and bring them here. He is promoting enjoy yourself either long term or on vacation the best way you can. That Colombia is a place that's full of beautiful, available women. And yes, by bringing a woman back, there is a chance that she will leave you. And there's a chance that she won't. By marrying an American woman, there's a chance that she will leave you. 50-50 chance. And there's a chance that she won't. Now, I don't really see much difference unless there's a higher probability, but realistically speaking, it's probably not. But this is just to discourage you. That's all these is. These are discouraging tactics. All right. Now, I thought of one just now, and this is something that's come up recently. That because I was gonna do this video maybe like a month ago, but topics changed and dolls and all kind of stuff came up. So, but now that we're back on this, now that we've come round robin, I can redo this, and this is something that wasn't on the original list, and that's number 8. And number 8 is, or what I replaced number 8 with is you treat them different than you treat American black women. Now, the simple answer, and I didn't give this simple answer on previous panels because, you're vulnerable for nuh-uh, nuh-uh. And since I didn't want to hear nuh-uh, I just decided to avoid this line of logic altogether. However, they're treated different because they are different. They're different culturally, they're different physically, and they have a different demeanor, and they are different in measures of femininity. You see, you buy somebody a gift, right? In the US, and they shame you for it. It's the stupidest fucking thing ever to shame and disrespect the man for giving you a gift. It's stupid. But both the women and the men who are trying to impress said women do this. Now, ladies, and this goes out to the American women that are listening. And I said this on I think it was a woman's perspective, something like that. I said this. You're not doing yourself any favors. You do realize that, right? By shaming men who gives gifts, what you're doing is you're discouraging gift giving. And if you're wondering why other groups of people are getting gifts and you are not, it's because your dumbass is shaming them for it. Makes you look kind of dumb. So, and it's unique. It's a very unique thing. Like no other culture really does that except American black women. But maybe I'm wrong. Like, maybe like if a wealthy man was to, find a wealthy white woman were to find a wealthy white man and he was to buy her, let's say, let me think. He was to take her on an expensive vacation. I used this analogy yesterday, but I can't really think of another one. So he was to take her to Paris, France. Oh, that's perfect, actually. Um, because a friend of my cousin's, she was recently proposed to. And they're probably married now too, but she was recently proposed to at the Eiffel Tower, right? And you know what didn't happen? She didn't call him a trick and walk away. You see, that's that dumb shit that make you not want to do for them. Take Don Sterling, for example. He had a sugar baby. And for whatever reason, instead of her shutting the fuck up and enjoying, she decided to shame him publicly, attack his career, etc., etc., etc. Now, most guys, many, if not most guys, in his income range has sugar babies. And shit like this don't happen. But he has a taste for light chocolate and it's the culture. It's the culture. Everybody else can just, take a gift, say thank you and shut the fuck up. But this culture, and then they walk around confused like, how come these guys aren't giving me gifts? Look at how you act when they do. So we treat them different because they are different. Because they, like a normal human being, just say thank you when a gift is received. No other community on the planet that I can think of takes kindness as a weakness more than the ADOS community. None. So those are the 10 methods that they use. Now, I'm pretty sure you're wondering, okay, that's number 10. Why is there so much time left on the video? Well, I'm going to explain to you why there's so much time. And this part is important. So bear with me. I know this is long for a pre-recorded video, but bear with me, and enjoy the pictures. All right. So the reason why I'm making this video a little bit longer is actually, you know something? It's not going to be longer. I'm going to end this video now. Then I'm going to do a follow-up to it. And what's that's going to have is I'm going to take these 10 commandments or whatever you want to call it, these 10 attackments, and apply it to slavery. And I'll do that on a up and coming video. So, this is Game Changer 00100. Game over. Peace.